We're talking to Professor Ross Gordon from QUT, who has received a grant from Energy Consumers Australia in his time at Macquarie Uni to work on a project about the connection between older Australians and how they're using energy in the home and how that relates to their well-being. So Ross, just firstly, how are the needs of older people different when they're interacting with energy and appliances in their home?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things on that. I think, first of all, is that older Australians tend to be in the home a lot more. They spend more time at home, and they have more time on their hands. Most of our participants in our project were of retirement age. So that definitely puts a demand on energy in the home a little bit more. And I think the other thing is that, as people age, their kind of everyday practices change as well. People might have to be managing different sort of daily routines, but also managing things like health conditions and things as they age as well. So it's definitely a different dynamic than, say, kind of young families or kind of people that are living alone of working age. It's a much more kind of different patterns of energy use that older people have.
Maybe just quickly step through some of the key findings of the research and what sort of things you were hoping to discover with conducting this piece of work.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of research was born out of earlier work that my colleagues and I had carried out. We were looking at really energy efficiency among older Australians. And what we were picking out there was that a lot of older people actually are quite frugal with their energy use. They come from that kind of post-war generation where, waste not, want not is a big kind of, way of life. And what we actually found was some of the messaging about cutting back and being efficient on energy use wasn't really as relevant as stories about their health and well-being. And what we actually noticed was that balancing energy use and energy concerns with maintaining health and well-being was a challenge for a lot of older Australians. And what we found in this current study was that some older Australians are quite creative and quite kind of adaptive at doing that. They find good ways to manage their energy use with their health and well-being. So one example was a couple who they'd moved inland from the coastal area where they used to kind of go for a swim every morning, and bought a house with a swimming pool. But they got a solar heater for the pool so that they could not only use the pool more of the year, but actually exercise in it because they both had hip replacements. So they were actually thinking about how do they make this pool cheap and easy to run, but also to help with their health and their well-being. But on the other side, we did find that those have kind of lower income and lower sort of kind of capacity did have really big challenges here in balancing these things. Some people talked about not putting the heating on in winter, going to bed early, and rather than kind of putting the heating on. Other participants talked about not putting the lighting on during the middle of the night when they would be moving around the house, and all really in fear of getting that big energy bill. So what we're kind of learning is that energy, health and well-being go hand in hand, and actually we need more recognition of that from policymakers and from those involved in the energy market to really support older Australians to make the choices they need to make to be able to live comfortably and to support their health and well-being in a good way.
Ross, what sort of findings are key to this research, and how do you hope that will play out on a policy level, particularly in the context of COVID-19 and the challenges that's presenting older Australians at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID-19 is a major issue for energy use. People are being stuck much more at home than even before. Already mentioned that older Australians do tend to spend a bit more time at home than other population groups. And there is concern that that's going to lead to even higher energy bills, with Australia having quite high energy bills as it stands. I think in terms of the findings from this project and how it can inform policy, what I've noticed is that energy policymakers have been acknowledging that energy, health and well-being are wrapped together, and that you actually need to work in partnership across energy, housing, health and so on. Where there's been a bit of a less engagement is on the health side. So we're finding that the health sector and health policymakers are kind of not really getting on board with this idea that energy is an important issue and it's linked to health. And that's something that I hope that this project has demonstrated, is that energy and health and well-being, they'll go hand in hand, and really we need to start thinking more holistically, more strategically about this. The other couple of things that I would mention are that obviously we want to support older Australians who at the moment are unable to use energy in ways that would support their health and well-being, particularly as they might develop chronic health conditions or as they get older. But the other thing that's worth saying here as well is that it's not just all about managing problems. Energy also allows people to, flourish, to have good well-being, to connect with their family members overseas, to be members of local groups by chatting online and kind of liaising with one another. We even had one participant whose wife had passed away a few years ago, and he connected with an old flame on Facebook, started dating her, and then was online looking up recipes to show off his new cooking skills. So there's lots of different ways that energy can be used in a positive mindset for well-being as well. And I think we need to kind of have that story coming out also from this research, that energy is an important resource to manage health problems, but it's actually a way that people can flourish and live well and support their good well-being.
This is such a rich body of work, Ross. Where's the best place to find more information, and where would someone find out more information to build on this good work?
Absolutely. So you can, if you visit the Energy Consumers Australia website, it's www.energyconsumersaustralia.com.au, and the Great Grants page of that website, it's got a link to the final project report, a presentation on the project and slides and so on. We're also working as a team on some academic journal publications out of the project as well. So they're in progress, so we're hoping to add those, and we'll link those onto the ECA website as well.